Vera and forgotten. She's also a philanthropist, producer, and activist, and we're super stoked to have her on the show. Please welcome Carla Ortiz. Carla, thanks for being here.
Jimmy, thank you so much for having me here.
So now we're going to get to what you've been doing. Now, you were in Syria. You've been there a bunch over the last 2 years, and you've seen a lot of stuff. So I want you to be here so we can talk about this together, because I want people to understand the roots of what this war is in Syria. So let's remember what FDR told us. We had to struggle with the old enemies of peace: business and financial monopoly, speculation, reckless banking, class antagonism, sectionalism, and war profiteering. So those are the enemies of peace, and they still are to this day. And if you really want to know what's happening in Syria, John Kerry let the cat out of the bag in his congressional testimony a few years ago. So here's John Kerry, former Secretary of State, and he's going to let you know that Saudi Arabia has offered to pay the United States to go into Syria and overthrow Assad. You think I'm kidding? Here we go.
First I've heard of it. With respect to Arab countries offering to bear cost and to assist, the answer is profoundly yes, they have. That offer is on the table.
That offer is on the table. Okay, we're going to get a little bit. The offer to pay for it is on the table. What offer? Here we come.
Secretary, and the details on the offer and the proposal on the table, what are the figures that we're talking about?
Well, we don't know what action we're engaged in right now, but they've been quite significant. I mean, very significant. In fact, some of them have said that if the United States is prepared to go do the whole thing the way we've done it previously in other places, they'll carry that cost. That's how dedicated they are to this. Obviously, that's not.
So there's John Kerry, Secretary of State, admitting that Saudi Arabia has offered to pay for the whole thing, and he even giggled. They said if we do it like we did it before, I'm guessing he means Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya, that they'll bear the whole cost. That's what he just said. Did you know that John Kerry admitted that, Carla?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the problem when you get involved with a documentary, because that's the reason why I went to Syria, you have to do a lot of homework. Because, yes, my background is I'm an actress and a producer, and I know as much as most of us know, which is, oh, no, the Middle East is such a mess. There's no solution to it. They're killing each other. I don't even want to know about it. Oh, yeah, there's always war. So we feel like so indifferent to it because it's just so complicated we don't even want to know. We don't want to know. So when I decided to go, I decided to do some of the studies and do my homework. And I could not believe the amount of information that is out there, and we don't have it, and we don't know that our governments in the Western countries are doing, and the governments of the Latin American people, because yes, I am an American citizen, but I'm from Bolivia, that we don't know that our policies also in Latin America and other countries are supporting because the powerful nations says so. So yes, unfortunately, not only he's admitted, but also the Prime Minister of England has done it, and also the President of France has done it in several occasions. But how do we not listen to this? It is out there because we don't have time. We're too busy listening to the lies and being brainwashed, because we're all brainwashed, you know, to just set up and be like, yes, we see children and children being killed. Okay, then we are okay. We are okay with our country bombing other countries. And this is kind of the same rhetoric that we've been listening over and over. Now, I always like to say, I'm not a political analyst. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a person that had any personal interest. I have no Syrian roots, and literally my only concern was to kind of make originally a film about the women in Syria, about the children, how they're coping with the war and how they're fighting the war from the home front. Unfortunately, on the several trips I did, I was caught in different terrorist attacks, and I got to see firsthand the aftermath of a terrorist attack.
So let me. So you have some video. We have some video from you in Syria, and I just want to remind people what this is really about. Again, there's a pipeline that Saudi Arabia wants to put through. It's a natural gas pipeline, so they can sell it to Europe. And Saudi Arabia and Russia doesn't want that to happen because they sell it to Europe. And so that's one of the reasons why this is all happening. Also, Israel's involved, but that's the main reason, and that's what John Kerry was just talking about, and that's why Saudi Arabia wants to overthrow Syria. And the ridiculousness of the United States saying we're helping people because Assad is gassing his own people. Well, I'll show you how stupid that is, because Assad was winning the war. And if you go to The Art of War, they say when your enemy is nearly defeated and final victory is at hand, gas your own people so the nations greater than yours will intervene and destroy you. Okay, that's a joke, obviously, because that doesn't make any sense that Assad would do this. He's winning the war. And I'll just show you this real quick. This is the Lord West. He's a former First Sea Lord, Chief of the Naval Staff, and UK Chief Defense Intelligence. And here's what he said about the latest gas attack. Ready?
Until I could set up a situation where I would wait until a Syrian helicopter was overhead dropping a barrel bomb and then set off some chlorine agent. I know I could do that. And that's what I would do if I was one of the Islamic terrorists, because they know they're losing.
But you don't have any evidence for that, do you?
We know that they've used chlorine in the past. We know they've done that in the past. And what is our evidence? A lot of the evidence we've been shown are, for example, information from the White Helmets, who do some good work rescuing people, but they didn't do anything to try and get women and children out of areas where they were being used as human shields in the past, and Aleppo and places. And they are hardly neutral observers. And similarly, the World Health Organization was using doctors who are working in terrible circumstances in that region. Again, hardly neutral observers. So the things I've seen it just rings alarm bells. I hope that they have got this very clear evidence, and if they have, our response, I think, was absolutely right. But I am concerned, and I think as we move forward, I wouldn't be in the least surprised if there were another gas attack, and someone would say, because it's in their interest to make us respond and get more and more involved.
So there you go. Now we'll get to your video. Oh, so by the way, so this is from The Independent in the UK. The search for the truth in the rubble of Douma and one doctor's doubts over the chemical attack. This is Robert Fisk, his reporting. And I'm going to tell you who he is in a second. He says it was a short walk to Dr. Rahabani's from the door of his subterranean clinic, Point 200, it is called, in the weird geology of this partly underground city. This is in Douma. This is where they were supposed to have this gas attack. Is a corridor leading downhill where he showed me his lowly hospital and the few beds where a small girl was crying as nurses treated a cut above her eye. I was with my family in the basement of my home 300 meters from here on the night, but all the doctors know what happened. And cellars where people live. They are living underground. People began to arrive here suffering from hypoxia, oxygen loss. Then someone at the door, a white helmet, shouted gas, and a panic began. People started throwing water over each other. Yes, the video was filmed here. It is genuine, but what you see are people suffering from hypoxia, not gas poisoning. That's Robert Fisk, and he's an award-winning journalist, and he also is on this podcast. So just so you know who he is, Robert Fisk is an English writer and journalist. He's been a Middle East correspondent intermittently since 1976. Since 1989, he has been a correspondent for The Independent, primarily based in Beirut. He holds numerous British and international journalism awards, including the Free Press Award, Reporter of the Year 7 times. And this is what he says about the gas attack.
Spirit Radio Podcasts.
I've just been in the town of Douma. I found the clinic where the film of the children dropping at the mouth and having water thrown at them was made. But the senior hospital doctor, who actually spoke very good English, who was there, told me that the video is real, that they were not suffering from gas poisoning, but suffering from panic and hypoxia, as he put it, because of the amount of dust in the tunnels in which they live. All through years, people in the Douma area have been living beneath their own homes in tunnels and basements. And that night, there was a lot of shelling by the Syrian army and by the Russian Air Force. And it produced a huge amount of dust and debris in the streets, and many people were finding it difficult to breathe. And when they reached the clinic, according to the doctor, someone shouted gas, and they panicked. But he did confirm that the film, the videotape, was indeed taken in the clinic there, the same clinic that I actually interviewed him in.
Thanks for listening to our...
So he's saying that video that we've all seen of them hosing down children, that's a real video, but there was no gas attack. That's what award 7-time winner just found out he's there. Okay, so let's go to your video. I want to go to your video. So this is one of the children that was in the video. So now watch this.
Радикальных исламистов. Вот Хасан.
So I'll read this to you what it says. This is Hassan Diab on the 7th of April. In this video, that's him there, and that's him now. In this video, unidentified people are providing first aid to the boy at Douma Hospital.
7 апреля на видео неизвестные люди оказывают мальчику первую помощь в госпитале Думы после химической атаки. Ну, делают вид. Обливают водой.
After the chemical attack, or at least pretending to, pouring water on him and shaking him.
Трясут, мокрый, испуганный. Хасан не понимает, что происходит вокруг.
Wet and scared, Hassan doesn't realize what's going on around
Вечером
him.
того дня он был дома.
He was back home in the evening, and one should not worry about the child's health. If he was gas attacked, you don't think he'd be doing so well.
Понятно, за здоровье ребенка переживать не стоит. Вот что мальчик рассказал.
Here's what the boy told us in an exclusive
В
interview.
эксклюзивном интервью нашему каналу.
We were in the basement. Mama told me that we would have nothing to eat today and we would eat tomorrow. We heard people shouting on the street, go to the hospital. We ran there. And as soon as I walked in, they grabbed me.
Мы показали Хасану ролик,
We showed us on the video that was shown by the world media. He quickly recognized himself in
который
it.
демонстрировали все мировые СМИ. Он быстро узнал себя. Отец мальчика Амар говорит, боевики ничего...
The boy's father, Omar, says that the fighters did not explain anything to the child. They were just shouting in the street. Now, this is corroborated by Robert Fisk.
Не объяснили ребенку, просто кричали на улице, звали всех
Calling
прийти на
everybody to
точку.
come to
Так
the
в Думе
meeting point,
называли
that is
госпиталь.
Douma Hospital. I was in captivity and was doing construction work. When I found out that my family ran to the hospital, I nearly lost my mind. I took some time off and ran to the hospital. There were no chemical weapons. I was smoking on the street and did not smell anything. I entered the hospital and saw my family. The fighters gave dates, fruits, and biscuits and rice for taking part in that film. And everyone was sent home. My kid was feeling fine. Hassan feels fine and probably doesn't understand why he's getting so much attention. So there you go. That's one. I'll show you one more. Here we go. A little boy plays the harmonica.
Ein kleiner Junge spielt Mundharmonika. Douma
destroyed by the merciless airstrikes of the Russians and the Syrian Air Force. Here is where the gas attacks supposedly to have been taking place. We asked people what they're experiencing. He says, I felt a weird smell after a couple of minutes. The smell was gone, and after a glass of water, I felt better.
Geruch gespürt. Nach ein paar Minuten war der Geruch wieder weg und nach einem Glas Wasser ging es mir besser.
Now we felt and smelled nothing. They say, like most of the people we talk to here.
Wir haben nichts gespürt oder gerochen, sagen sie, wie die meisten, mit denen wir hier sprechen.
Only this man said he does not want to be filmed in front of a camera. Yes, there was clearly a smell of chlorine. He doesn't know who could have used it.
Das weiß ich nicht.
In close proximity to the hospital, a working doctor tells us, Saturday a week ago, we treated people with breathing problems, but chlorine or gas poisoning, no, those are different symptoms. What is true and believable of this, we don't know. That's up to the experts to find out. This could take up to 30 days. So there you go. There's that. And here's the video that everyone's been seeing, right? So that's the video everybody's been seeing, all these hosing, the hose-offs. By the way, it's just...
They're wetting them. That is what they're scared. And it's so very cold right now in Syria.
So they're just scaring kids and they're filming it. So what happened was the white helmet, they come in and they bring all these people into the hospital all at once, and then they film it, and they film it for a few, and then it's over, and they all leave. And that's it. They got their film, they got it, and now they got their airstrike. Please make sure you're subscribed. It only takes a second. Make sure you're subscribed and click that bell so they give you a notice whenever we drop a video. And if you can become a patron, we give you hours of bonus material every week. Our next live show is June 30th in Portland, Oregon. And we do a super solid chat every Saturday. That's our live stream. You can ask us questions and we answer back. That's Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific. Plus, we're on Steam It. We're steaming it right now.